Hello and welcome to a VOD commentary with myself, Otilio here, for KR Strive Celebration Tournament. This match will be between Zain and Banazama in match losers round two. Zain the main specifically, and this will be a best of three with three pre-selected characters in a reverse conquest format tournament. The characters were pre-selected before tournament registration. So on Banazama's side, we have Ryu, Jin, and Kai Kisk. And then from Zane's side, Zane the main side, we have Ino, Noel, and Sea Viper. Now, as you can see on the screen here, we'll have this match was played in the client by DT, which I will link down below in this video. And yeah, go ahead and check that out. It's great for any quick Xseed matches you may need, especially when you don't have or don't care for Tabletop Simulator. It's a great it's a great place to play Xseed when you can't do so in person, you can't do so on Tabletop Sim, or just prefer the client. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Of course, this is best of three, and this is losers, so whoever loses this will be eliminated. So the first matchup we have is Ino versus Jin, and we have Ino going first here, and Jin going second. This is pre-recorded, so we'll just go ahead and commentate as we see it. And they are off to the races. Mulligan is done. Let's see. So we get a character UA from Eno ditching Spike here, going to range 2. Very typical play here. Gonna go ahead and start off with an early strike into Jin here. Problem being, of course, Jin does have that DP if they think this is something crazy. They will just go ahead and DP the dust here, which will, of course, not do it. Jin will take 5, Eno will take 2. Jin taking the front here. Looks like I clicked on both their gauges at some point during recording this. I was the one that went ahead and recorded this. We'll get the push one, draw, or I think it's push one, draw one, take another action, or maybe it's just push one, take another action. Spending the gauge for the UA, getting the after draw 2 here on an EX strike. Something that's probably guaranteed if I had to guess. Probably something 6 speed. Of course, does have the 6 feet of her own. No, just goes ahead and wild swings, ends up getting hit for 5 from the EX Assault. This will be Jin's advantage with the fresh 2 cards off the top of the deck from that gauge spend. Now, of course, normally when you think of blue Shotos, they normally like to uh, play and get their big boosts out, and they have a lot of tools to deal with things. Jin here just can afford to rush down because they have this draw 2 on their after, which makes them pretty good. So we're just gonna see his Jin prep and then Eno prep here. Life lead's pretty similar. Jin of course has the hand advantage. There's not really much new about this. Jin normally always has the hand advantage when you're playing against him. His whole shtick. We'll go ahead and get the strikeout here from Jin onto the Eno. I should really set down my keyboard. Oh, we got the focus into the wild swing antidepressant scale, which is no good. Antidepressant scale will get killed there, putting Eno at the life deficit. Puts on to Eno's turn. Eno's going to go ahead and change cards, getting rid of the Megalomania from hand. Going up to that full 7. Both players having plenty of options as it is pretty early in the game still. Of course, both assaults are knocked out for Jin and one of the DPs. Here comes the movement block from Jin, discarding a spike. And of course, this movement block here is pretty nasty, especially in Eno, because it does block out Eno's UA as well. So she is not able to advance 2 if she decides to spend the Force, so spending the Force is pretty pointless for Eno when this boost is on the table. Unless they're on flip side, because if they're on flip side, they still get the plus power. We're getting a strikeout here from Eno. Jin responding with the cross into the sweep. Oh, sorry about that. My can just hit my microphone there. Jin going back to range 5 isn't exactly the best thing for Eno in the world because Jin does have another fireball if he so pleases. But of course, Eno can call that out pretty easily. But it is a mix-up, obviously, between dive and the fireball if there's a strike here from Jin. But Jin just went ahead and prepped and passed turn back to Eno. So Eno is able to UA if they want to get back in and start the offensive again here. Or they can opt to play it slowly as they do have copies of dive as well. They also have a copy of the 6-speed. Gonna go ahead and toss the block to opt in to use the UA here to go ahead and try and get the pressure back on Jin. Being down on life is a bit rough because now we have to... Oh, we got the EX from Jin. What are we gonna see here? We're gonna see the EX Moon Song into the Chemical Love. I don't know if I'm a super big fan of the Chemical Love just because the Chemical Love does kind of allow for Jin to just kind of play slow there, which is kind of to be expected from some players. Of course, against Eno does have enough retreats that maybe playing slow isn't the best idea in the world, but we will see the EX Moonsong work out there, killing out the Chemical Love and putting at a very big life deficit now. Jin just gonna go ahead and keep this hand advantage here because they don't really need to do much since they are currently winning by quite a good life lead. We're gonna see the Gatling boosted here. Draw 2, hit gain advantage. Just plays into Eno's kit of gaining advantage chaining Eno death. Here comes the other fireball getting boosted for the push 1 bonus action. So it is push 1, draw 1, take another action. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's push 1, draw 1, take another action. Alright, we get the other boost here, which is just opponent cannot move. Discarding the Ice Fang for it, so we kind of overspent here for it, which is fine. Both players, I don't think Jin was really interested in killing his own hand just to kill Eno's hand, so getting rid of this is whatever. Oh, I think we just saw Eno spend for the UA, even though they can't. Oh no. Oh no. Well, that's not gonna work. Alright, we still see a strike come out from Eno here. Have to see what Jin wants to play in response. Of course, Jin is out of assaults here, but they do have stuff like Ice Car if they want, or they have they have dives of their own and stuff like that. Eno cannot move, so this is just a classic mix-up game still. Jin responds with a single card, sweep into sweep. Just 6 for 6. Putting Eno down to 3 and Jin down to 19. I believe I saw one of those ultimate Fortissimo boosts to get thrown out. One of those, I believe, 2 gauge ultra, the 6 armor. One of Eno's 4 copies of block. Ultra block. Range 3. Gonna go ahead and boost the scramble. Probably gonna cancel it here. Gonna cancel it. More than likely UA in or just strike from here. Gets rid of another dust. I believe that's both dust down here. Yep, UA's to range 1 with the cross. Wild Swing. Place the Grasp into the Spike. Of course, Dust and Spike being the same card, just different depending on what season you're playing. Season 7 has Dust, every other season has Spike. A Wild Swing from Eno happens to be the focus into the Grasp from Jin. Very good Wild Swing on the side of Eno. Eno gets an extra card, putting Jin down to 12 and Eno down to 2 from the 1 damage from the Grasp. Very low on cards, both in hand and deck, I believe, at this point for Eno. Jin should be pretty low on deck at this point as well, making it more predictable on what they might be able to play. Of course, we still have the if I have more cards than you, or in hand than you, here comes the other Grasp, which will be played into the ultimate Fortissimo. Oh, Grasp will deal 0 damage here, ultimate Fortissimo will deal 4. Jidge paying for this UA makes him have go up to 8 cards in hand, which is why we're seeing so many strikes from him, is because all these draws from the UA. Uno's kind of got to come up with a plan here to actually end this out. Uno is perfectly capable of ending this out, especially with both the Struck the Big Tree still up. Problem is, you just have to be careful here because you are very susceptible to dying. Jin is a lot less susceptible to dying because it takes at least 2 strikes from Eno to kill Jin, whereas it only takes 1 strike from Jin to kill Eno. Bruce the +2 speed here has to discard down because we were sitting at 8. Goes ahead and discards one of the permafrosts. Gonna go ahead and tech the +2 speed. Consider canceling. Really got to take a second here to think if they have the correct hand or if they can just force themselves into a wild swing position to win this game. They're going to go ahead and cancel with that ultimate Fortissimo here. Take a bonus action, potentially UA. No, just going to go ahead and advance 2, draw 2. Pass it back over to our Jin player here. Jin's turn with 6 or 7 cards in hand. Going to go ahead and boost block, parry out a card here. Did not get the card, reveals the hand over to our Jin player. Jin with hand knowledge. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here. So it looks like Jin went ahead and parried block. There was no block, so we were able to hand him Megalomania, EX Stroke, Antidepressant, Grasp, Slash, and Cross. So the problem here is if Jin has any readings left, this is insanely risky to keep because the Jin can just read and win. Was looking to just get rid of block to go ahead and end out the game faster because obviously if the opponent plays block, you can't win the game unless you have an ignore armor card. Which Jin does have overhead on a boost. It's just on his 7 speed, which is a little bit rough because he needs that 7 speed in order to beat out Grasp. Unless, of course, he has a grasp of his own. That would change things. Now, as you know, here you have to consider. So, look at the deck here. We see a grasp, cross, slash, dive, block, depressant, both strokes, both sultries, and a megalomania. For Jin, we see an Ice Fang, Violent Ice, Crystal Strike, Permafrost, Cross, Dive, Focus, Block. So there is a focus left, so I think as you know, we really need to get rid of this hand or at least get the reshuffle going here. Um you're kind of in a tricky spot because you're out of cards and there's still a normal or two left in your deck. At least I think there's at least one normal left in the deck after seeing that. And when there's normals left in the deck and you try to do a big CC to reshuffle the deck, you're still susceptible to reading because you drew that normal. And at 2 life is a pretty bad situation to be in. So it looks like Ino's just going to go ahead and strike here with this known hand. Jin just needs to respond with something. Of course, Jin is able to die here in 2 to 3 strikes, so he does have to be a little bit careful here. All right. Jin just thinking about what they want to respond with here. Of course, obviously this is a one of the more game defining moments at this point. Only 8 HP to 2 HP, pretty close game. Could technically swing either way. Currently Jin's favor though. Jin goes ahead and responds with the block. Will either opt to take 0 damage from the cross here or just take 1. Goes ahead, takes 1 damage for the cross. Now, if Jin has the reading here, they just play it and win the game. There it is. There's the reading. Goes ahead and reads the grasp, I imagine. Yep, there's the grasp. Responds with a dive. Perfect. Jin will take game 1, 7 life to 0. And I'm going to go ahead and find the start to the next game. All right. So it looks like we see the next game here. Zayn, of course, will be taking first here because they lost the last game. It looks like we're going to see Sea Viper versus Kai Kisk here, which is actually a matchup that I got to play earlier in the tournament as well. In my game versus Bana, we ended up playing this exact same matchup, Sea Viper versus Kai. I don't remember if I went first or not, but we did play this exact same matchup. Um, this matchup is pretty interesting because Viper, of course, has a very predictable defense, which is to say she doesn't really have one. And Kai has a lot of advantage. Viper isn't exactly the biggest fan of advantage chainers because her defense is weak. And when you have a character like Kai who has a lot of speed boosts, or who has these speed boosts that also give advantage, and then just the speed boost from the fireball in general, it doesn't fare well for Viper. Viper, of course, can win the matchup. This is Xseed. You can win any matchup with any matchup. It's just a varying level of difficulty based on who you're fighting. Um, if I were to take my experience, I do think this match is Kai favored, just personally. Um, because Kai does have a much better range 2 game than Viper, even though Viper's preferred range is 2 to 3. So Viper wants to sit at range 3, but the problem is that Kai has this UA that says that he doesn't have to sit at range 3. He can just move to range 2 if it comes back to his turn. And Viper, of course, not having cancels except for on Stylish, makes life a little bit difficult. So we're going to see the block initiated from Viper into the Fujiri arc coming out from Kai, which Fujiri arc is very, very safe into Viper because all that Viper can really play with no boosts in play is either EX Dive, which was not played, regular Dive, or the I don't remember what the card's called. It's a 2 to 5 Fireball. Oh, here comes the +1 speed hit gain advantage now. Wild Swing into Kai Strike. Burst time comes out. Will not do it. Grasp comes out. Gets hit by the cross for 3 damage. Kai will retreat 3, gain advantage, go back to range 5. Just gonna go ahead and play the Fireball here, orb their own block. More than likely just the Fireball though. This is just the question of, does Viper have the Fireball of their own? Because Viper's Fireball crit actually beats out this Fireball. Because it does deal 5 damage. It doesn't stun the Fireball, but it can move back to range 7 where it will be safe from this Fireball. So the question stands, does Viper have the answer? See a card played and it's critical, that means Viper does have the answer. It is Seismic Hammer. That's what it's called. Seismic Hammer will go ahead and take out the stun edge and then retreat 2, which is pretty depressing because Viper has nothing that she can do at range 7, but so neither does Kai. Of course, the main difference being is that Kai can boost and then move into range 6 and then do something, or they could boost the +1 range and then hit the Fireball all the way from back there. Granted, the Fireball is only 3 damage, so it just kind of is. Looks like we're just going to see a prep off here because both of our opponents don't want to move into each other and give the other the advantage. Kai having 1 gauge, of course, can choose to advance 3 and then advance another one if they want to go to range 3. It looks like we're just going to continue this prepping here, which means Kai probably doesn't have the assault to advance 3, or either that or they're holding on to it. Both characters having the infamous stare down here, the range 7 stare off. We see a defend boosted from Viper, and just past turn we see a parry boosted from Kai, getting rid of a focus. Which, focus of course being a good card to go ahead and parry there because they could just Viper could just dive and then Kai dives and gets hit by Seismic Hammer. The other Seismic Hammer. We see we see hidden weapons boosted for Viper just to go ahead and get more gauge. It's just a draw to add this card to gauge for 1 force. Ditches a spike to do so. Means we are out of spikes for Viper on this deck. So until we get a fresh deck, we are out of these spikes. We see the advance 1 for Kai, the walk action taken using the dive. Cross is boosted to run into range. Are we going to range what here? 5, 4, or 3? We're going to range 4 as Viper. I find this a little bit weird because our range 4 options are pretty predictable. And Kai does have a 5-speed range 4 option, so unless we're holding on to an EX dive to play on offense, I'm not a big fan of those. We're going to go ahead and see the Grasp boosted for Kai here. Of course, this is just now draw 1, hit +1 power, add Grasp to gauge. Here comes EX from Viper. If I had to guess, this is literally just EX dive. Which means as Kai, you either try to counter it with your own EX or you just cross out if you don't have it. Because +1 power ignore armor is pretty annoying to deal with. So you just kind of hope you have cross here or something that beats this. Because this is 5-speed incoming. Wild Swing into the Sacred Edge, Wild Swing into the cross. That hurts for Viper to see. You never like to see the correct answer come off the top of your opponent's deck. We are at range 3 now, which is more favorable for Viper here than Kai. Kai's going to go ahead and boost that +1 range, though, to make sure it's in their favor. Going to go ahead and cancel, stay at range 3. I mean, this could be a million things. This is probably just like a Dire Eclot, though, just because Dire Eclot is a very strong card. We're seeing EX here from Steve Viper. The EX sweep, and it was the Dire Eclot, which is really unfortunate for Viper because this pushes Viper out of range. Now Viper's back to range 5. Only thing that hits here for Viper is the Seismic Hammer, and of course, if the opponent has the Fireball, they probably just mash it, and then you can't move in. Viper taking the Prepare here. Now, both players sitting at range 5, probably just looking for their respective fireballs, to be honest, because all that you can really do here is just advance them to each other again. Kai, of course, will be better at it than Viper, because Kai can just go ahead and cancel. Here comes the burst time. Boosted, +3, armor, 1 guard, draws for end of turn. That's both burst times down. Haven't seen a single stylish come out from Viper yet, though. Just something that's pretty interesting. Viper being low on hand size either means that they have drawn stylish or they're just saving them. Which either is fine. Here comes stylish number 1. Now draw 3. The opponent has +3 power. Now draw 3. Take another action. Cancels before they were cool. Sitting at range 5, of course, does no favors for Kai. Or Viper, for that matter. Here comes stylish number 2. As Viper here, you pretty much just hope he drew the fireball because the only thing Kai can do against this is play his own fireball, and if you play yours and crit it, then you just retreat 2 and get free 5 damage off, even up the life totals. That's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So this is a non-critical strike, which means Kai probably just plays his own fireball here, or block to get gauge. I'm gonna go ahead and smash the fireball. 9 power, your stun edge. 9 power stun edge is pretty funny. Okay, we'll go ahead and take the advance too. Just kind of slowly close in here. Send it back to Kai's turn once again at range 6. Nothing hits for either player right now. Not with these gauge totals. Viper only has the Fireball, which does not hit here, and Kai, of course, would normally only have Stun Edge and the Ultra, but they don't have access to the Ultra because of the lack of gauge, and both Stun Edges are down now. So, we are once again at a stalemate. Boost the other Grasp. Now draw 1, +1 power, hit hit +1 power, and then add Grasp to gauge. Viper here just looking to get back in. Gonna go ahead and take a strike here. This could be something to just close in the form of a strike rather than moving in. This could also be something to generate gauge, like a block. This could be so many things. Nothing, of course, which hits. Here comes the slash from the Kai, just to go ahead and move in. This was just a grasp from Viper to go ahead and get that boost out of here. +1 max range, +1 power, cancel. Nothing Viper has hits at range for except for Diver Seismic Hammer. Here comes the EX from Kai. I believe this is just EX Spike because it is +1 range. The Dire Eclot doesn't hit here, and a lot of the other stuff that it could be doesn't really make sense. So I'm pretty sure this is just EX Spike because it is 4 speed, it beats out regular dive, and it beats out crit Seismic Hammer. The only thing it doesn't beat out is the EXs of either of those. Viper will go ahead and play the Assault to close in. We'll go ahead and take 7 to the face for their troubles. Kai with pretty much 2 times life lead at this point. Viper, of course, cannot be counted out because she still does have quite a punch in her backpack there. She has Pen for Force for +4 power. She has +1 Ignore Armor. She has +2 power. She has Cheater to repeat those boosts. She has so much in her kit that she can go ahead and bust out here to just kind of put the hurt on Kai. Of course, she does have to worry about Kai's other DP, which will counter a pretty significant portion of her kit, especially with both burst times being down. Here comes the Cheater. Curious for what boost we're getting back here. Getting back +2 power here. We may be striking here. No, normally when you go for +2 power here, this could be a million things, but you're usually signifying that you're playing the emergency combination just because it already gets +2 power. Because it's a 7 power emergency combination. At range 2, it's a little bit risky, just because focus exists, but we did get the EX sweep, which will go ahead and work just as fine as the focus for Kai here. So Viper, of course, will take a buttload of damage for their issues. Taking that nasty 7. Viper going to go ahead and exceed here, going onto a fresh deck. Has to discard 1, discards the Seismic Hammer, which is fine. I mean, you're playing at range 2, you can't really make use of it right now. Kai manually reshuffles here. Starting at range 2, pretty risk. Especially at only range 4 from the arena, or from the edge of the arena with Kai in the center. Kai can just go ahead and DP over you if he feels threatened. He just can do a million things here. So it's a pretty risky spot to be in. The one upside to this position for... Oh, we're at EX crit strike here. Huh. The only thing we haven't really seen is EX Thunder Knuckle, but because they did reshuffle, this could be a lot of things. It looks like this is just the EX Thunder Knuckle. I am not a super big fan of this. It wins you 1 strike for 4 damage with Ignore Guard, but that was a lot of speed. That was 8 speed. I think you only needed to expend 1 Thunder Knuckle there. I think EXing it was pretty pointless. The only reason you would EX it is to beat out an EX focus. But now this just kind of happens right here is the problem. Retreat 1. Make your opponent wild swing. Critical Seismic into Dire Eclot, both at the same speed. Kai wins the speed tie, Dire Eclot kills. And that will be our game. Alrighty, so this will be Banazama taking over zainthemain 2-0. Jin beating out the Eno, and then Kai beating out the Viper. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again next time.